Hey there! Welcome back to our Fusion 360 journey. Today we're getting our hands on sketching, which is the foundation of all 3D modeling. Let's jump right in and start drawing. First up, let's make sure that we're in the design workspace. We can always double check that up here in the top left. Click design. Then we just want to go up to our toolbar, drop down this create menu, and choose create sketch. Now we can think about sketching a lot like drawing with a pen and paper. We have to decide what surface we want to put our piece of paper on. Do we want it on the left, on the right, on the floor, or do we even want to draw on an existing object that we've already created? In this case, I'm going to choose the bottom here. And here we are. We're now in the sketch workplace. This is where you'll spend a lot of your design time. Now notice we've got all new options in our toolbar up here. We've got all new shapes, new objects, different geometries that we can create and draw with, as well as different actions and constraints that we can apply. We'll explore all of those here in a minute. Oh, and check this out. This is the timeline. It's like a diary for our design, keeping track of everything we do for reference later on. It's pretty neat. Notice if I hover over this, it'll show us Sketch 1. That's the sketch we just created. It's our first feature. Now, if I were to rename that sketch, I can come up here, make sure that this drop-down window is open, double-click on it, and then just type in base sketch. This is just a best practice so that we can keep all of our things nice and organized. Now for the fun part, we've got sketch tools. So we're going to click up here into create. We've got all these things, lines, rectangles, circles, arcs. Just play around and see what each tool can do. Again, remember, if you notice that your cursor has a different icon on it and you want to click out of it, all you have to do is press that escape key and it reverts it to normal. To make sketches accurate, we use constraints. There are a bunch of different types, and I don't want to take you back through your high school geometry class, but there are several different ways that we can do this. If we want two lines to be parallel, all we have to do is choose our parallel tool, select the lines that we want to alter, and that line is now constrained. Notice if I take this line and I drag any point of it around, our top and our bottom can change, but our two sides are always staying parallel. Dimensions are incredibly important too. We can create a dimension by going to Create, scrolling down and choosing Dimension. We can also hit it with the D key. All we have to do to dimension an object is to click on the object we care about with our dimension tool active, drag out to the side, and then decide how we want it to be constrained. Do we want to constrain just the top and bottom height, or do we want to constrain the length of the line if it's not perfectly vertical? In this case, I'm going to choose the length of our line, and I'm going to say I want it to be exactly 25 millimeters. I'm going to type 25 mm, and it'll know exactly what that means. Now, if I were to instead want that to be in inches, I could do two very different things. I could say I want it to be 2 inches, or I could go up here to our document settings, and I could just change our units. Let's say instead of millimeters, I want to work in inches. In my case, I prefer the metric system, so I'm going to click back to millimeters. Notice it already does our conversion for us, which is very convenient. We can also dimension between multiple objects. With our dimension tool active, select two lines to be able to change the angle between them. Let's say I wanted to make this exactly 120 degrees. That's all I'd need to do. Or if I wanted to change the distance between our circle and this point, I could say I want them to be exactly 60 millimeters apart. Or if I change my mind, all I have to do is press delete. Need to modify something? It's no problem. All you have to do is just click, drag around, change points, or if you want, double click and modify an already constrained dimension. And if you mess up, just hit undo. If you're done sketching, just go up to the top, hit Finish Sketch, and bam, you're back to the original workspace. Decide you want to go back in and modify some things? You can either go down here to the timeline and choose our event, double click, and reopen the sketch, or in our sketches drop down, select the sketch we're interested in, double click here, and activate it. And there you have it. That's sketching in a nutshell. Next time we'll go further in depth on dimensioning, geometry, constraints, and everything that we need to make sure that our 2D drawings are ready to transform into 3D. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy sketching!